Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer podcast. Hello, 2026. We made it, Frank. How's it going, buddy?
Isn't it lovely? A whole new year, a whole new start to everything, and it's been kicked off with all sorts of craziness in the world already. Who would have thunk it? But we're here to talk tech and AI, and then a little bit more AI on top of that. But I think
I got a
first.
light. I got a light. See the
Oh, I'm
light?
so happy. There's real tech, light, the original tech.
Heather got me a light for Christmas. She's like, Frank's been telling you to get a light for your live streams and your podcast for the last 5 years. So I got you this light, and so I can tap it and change through different things. It's a USB rechargeable, but that's about it. So yeah, pretty nice. And now I try
We'll
to
see if you
match you.
remember.
Yeah,
We'll see
I
if you
can.
remember to recharge it.
Yeah, I can be like really, we can really turn down the Elgato key lights like really low. This is at
Uh,
3%. But see if it's too high,
oof.
it's like at 7%, 5%. We're trying to get moody up in here. Um, well,
It's
Frank,
good
happy New
podcasting.
Year's. It's a good, yeah, I'm trying my hardest. Well, happy New Year's, and happy New Year's to all of our listeners that have been sticking with us, and also for everybody that has been maybe finding us from a little amazing plugin for your terminal called Oh My Posh that we are sponsoring. So I guess we're sponsoring them, but I guess we'll give them a free ad read, which is you should probably
So we're
install Oh
sponsoring
My.
them twice, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a free. Yeah, it's like we're giving Jan free credits for it. On our pot. Wait, should we get paid? Okay. Anyways, On My Posh
No,
is great.
anyway. Hi,
Yeah,
Oh My Posh people.
yeah. If you're coming in, welcome to 2026. We were able to sponsor a few projects this year, so we're sponsoring Oh My Posh, which is pretty awesome because we'll talk about why a little bit. What kind of shenanigans I got into, Frank, this holiday season. Uh, but I've been using Oh My Posh a bunch, and I was like, I'm going to sponsor this project, and we got the Merge Conflict logo on the website, on the GitHub repo, bingo bango, good to go. Sponsor your open source projects, people. But Frank, I figured it's been a relatively exciting few weeks because we talked about the 2025 recap, and now we could go directly into 2026. But I feel like I want to live in the moment, Frank, which is like
Ooh.
what I thought I was going to do over the holiday break and what I did. And I think what you may have done based on some of your tweets.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was a little bit all over the place, to be honest. As usual, I'm always like, I'm gonna focus on a project. And then I forget for me to focus on a project requires roughly 12 hours a day for roughly 3 to 4 weeks in a row. That's my definition of focus, which just doesn't happen during holiday breaks. So I worked on not a holiday hack, but many micro hacks. Little hacking, little hackings, little
Mini hacks.
hacklets. Yeah, mini hacks.
I would,
so, yeah, I'm
yeah,
happy to talk about those, but I'm curious to hear about yours too.
yeah, I worked on a bunch of mini hacks as well because nowadays everything can be a mini hack. But I also worked on a lot of like upgrades and migrations. I'll talk about that experience. But
Oh boy.
the first thing I did, now you weren't really home. I was home this holiday season,
Mm.
and there was a few things that I needed to do, which was one, spend some of my money on upgrading my office from the business account. So to bring down that income there. And then additionally, I hate cords and cables, Frank. So I'm always on a
Mm.
mission to at least once a year take everything off my desk and reassemble everything and put it back onto my desk. And that is what I did. So I'll tell people a little bit first of my setup upgrades here. First, you might be noticing I'm looking at Frank a little bit more direct in the face, and maybe y'all at home as well, because I guess I'm looking at them as well. But
I'm
it's
their
because
avatar. I'm the avatar for the audience, everyone. Tell me what you want me to tell James, because he's talking directly to my soul right now, and it's a little hard to not look, because it's just right down the barrel of the camera, as they say.
it's true. It's because I got a teleprompter. I've been holding off for about 15 years on these, but Elgato has a great teleprompter, and I can put Frank's beautiful face right there, and my Canon M50 right there pops up, which is really great. I also got a new microphone. I got a new arm, which is really cool from Elgato, and a new Elgato dynamic mic, which is here. And additionally, I've been trying to work on my cable management. I got a Thunderbolt 4, not a 5 because the 5s are really expensive, but a Thunderbolt 4 um, dock. And what is in that is like my camera, the teleprompter, a bunch of other stuff that all the microphone stuff. So I can take it between my Mac, my Windows machine, my MacBook Air, et cetera, et cetera. One cord, bingo, bango, good to go.
Okay, so I hate talking about dongles because I think once spent like 3 months talking only dongles, but I do have to quiz you because during all that dongle talk, we both kept bemoaning the fact that all the Thunderbolt stuff was so expensive. So you end up getting mostly USB stuff. Have you noticed that this Thunderbolt one has more advanced features over like a USB dock? Just like a normal USB 3.1 USB-C dock? And if so, what peripherals do you like, or are you just using it mostly as like a port expander?
So this one is the actual Microsoft Surface Thunderbolt
Mm,
dock. However, it is Thunderbolt in, Thunderbolt out.
mhm.
Or no, yeah,
Thun
Thunderbolt out.
Thunderbolt's supposed to chain. Yeah.
So Thunderbolt in, Thunderbolt out, and it has USB A ports as well on it. It has I think it has a HDMI, and it also has an Ethernet on it as well. I'm mostly using it as a hub. However, I have a laptop that I'm testing that requires a very, very
Mhm.
high wattage draw on it.
Oh, geez.
And this dock does provide 100 watts of pass through power, which you kind of almost need from a Thunderbolt because you can't really get that 100% from USB 3 hubs. Usually they make them, but normally what I've seen is they are around 60 to 85. This one's actually, I think, 120 pass through maybe. So this one's really nice. I have pretty much everything I want plugged into it. So I have my Elgato Stream Deck, my microphone plugged into it. I have the teleprompter plugged into it. I have the camera plugged into it. So I kind of all of the peripherals that I could possibly want plugged into it. Um, and what I like about it is just one cord out and then kind of good to
Yeah.
go between it. So it's the nice thing is that I bought this from the company store. So I got a 50% discount on it, which was the main reason that I bought it.
Ouch. That's how you got around the Thunderbolt tax. Okay.
Yes.
Just to be clear then, so the power is all coming through Thunderbolt? There's no external power source? It is not itself a power source?
Oh, it has you have to plug this puppy into the
Yeah.
into the wall.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a dedicated brick that I'm pretty sure is bigger than the dock itself. So this
Sure.
dock, okay, so this dock, let me go to the tech specs. It is a 165-watt power supply. It gives 96 watts pass through. It has a front facing USB A, a front facing USB C, which is a Thunderbolt 4 video enabled 15 watt. It has two rare USB A 3.1 and two additional USB 4 Thunderbolt 4s, an Ethernet jack and an audio jack on it on there. So what's nice about this is that all of the USB-C, right, are USB-C 4, so Thunderbolt 4
Yeah.
compatible. So the one thing I like about this is sometimes you get a dock and like one of the ports
Yeah.
is but I know if I'm plugging in a USB-C, it's Thunderbolt 4, which is confusing for a lot of people because Thunderbolt 4, USB 4, they look exactly the same. They use,
The connector is the same. It's all a USB-C connector, which really confuses the heck out of everything. Um, it's fine. You just gotta look for the little lightning bolt on it, which for whatever reason means thunder. Thunder and
thunder,
lightning. We
lightning,
confused the 2.
lightning in
Cool.
the
I like it.
thunder.
I'd say the biggest upgrade then is that it's actually featuring those additional ports because I've bought in a million USB-C dongles at this point, and the biggest problem with USB-C dongles is they often don't have USB-C on them.
Yeah,
Oddly enough.
and on my Mac Mini, for example, here I have the
4?
USB-C the base stand, the Mac Mini, but that's only USB-C. It's and now it does have obviously the hard drive that you can put in there, but all the ports are just USB 2.0 basically. So it's really
Yeah.
only good for little tiny dongles, and that's about it. So I
Yeah.
was even looking at maybe upgrading that, but I haven't found any Thunderbolt 4. I think because they get too warm. I think that's why they
Oh,
get
that
too
go
warm.
underneath? Yeah, because all the cooling on the computers at the bottom also. Yeah. Okay, well, Throw some ice cubes on there. I don't know. Get a liquid cooler from a PC and jam it in there.
But I'm really proud of myself because I tore everything off the desk. I redid all the cables. They're all super nice. If I look under the desk, I did this. And then I've always had under my desk like a rail for all the cables. It's a big metal box. And what I would do is I would put a strip, an extender, an outlet extender, it's power strip,
Yep. Big
power
guy.
strip,
Big
big
one.
power strip.
Little one.
And
Yep.
you'd put it in there, and then all these dongles and adapters all go in different ways, and it's all messy.
It's
So
terrible.
what I went to the local Fred Meyers, and I was like, I bet they have some different ones, and they have a magnetic one. So
Oh.
so it's a
Which part's
magnetic
magnetic?
one, the back of it.
Cool.
So you can
Okay.
it's for like a workshop, so you can just like stick it somewhere. But it's perfect because I can stick it underneath, on top, and it's a crazy powerful magnet that is just like amazing. So I love it. So I
Cool.
was able to stick that, all the cables, all the cords are really beautiful. I'm really excited about it. Um, yeah, and then I cleared everything off. I moved things around. I tried 18 different microphone stands, but I'm pretty happy at this point with the setup until next year where I do it all again. And Heather was like,
No.
I think you might have spent more time rearranging your desk than with me. So that's a problem.
Oh, ouch. Okay, critique. Yeah, I like to call this time of the year the time of the year when James makes me feel bad about my desk. Because I believe I remember myself last year saying this is going to be the year I clean off my desk and make it as good as James. No, I'd say it's gotten worse. It's even more complex and even more terrible. You say you've been refining your cables. I have too. My cable pile is now roughly that high, consistently across the entire desk. If I need to set something down, I put it on top of the books that have cables on top of them that have other books on them and cables on top of those. And that's what I call stability.
Nice. I like that. I like that.
You make me feel so bad. I'm gonna do it this year. This is the year. This is the year I fix my cables. God.
Anything is possible, Frank. Anything is possible. Okay, well, that's what I've been hanging on a little bit. What have you been hanging on? We can go back and forth a little bit on stuff,
Oh,
but I don't know what all you've been doing. Yeah, what have you been up to?
can I tell you my favorite one? I also have a Microsoft product, but mine is old. I go for the old stuff, James. I recently came into possession of, through no real intentions of my own, a Surface 1.0 device, a touch sense, a pixel sense device. Do you know what these
Ah,
are? The
yeah.
original Surface. Before Microsoft started calling every product Surface, there was the original Surface, which was I don't even know what the intention
The
was,
big
other than it
one.
was the coolest, the big one, the table, the
Yeah,
big
table.
Pac-Man table. I have one, James. I have always wanted one my entire life, and I now have one ever since I first saw them. I think these are circa 2007, 2008 technology.
Yeah.
They are some of the original multi-touch devices because it's not even a touch interface. It's not even capacitive touch. It uses these things called cameras to figure out where your hand is. And it has the craziest rear projection screen with like it's just cool. There's a projector shining up onto a projection screen. It's all on this giant table that's made of epoxy or some magical chemical. And then there's 5 cameras looking up to it, running the most janky version of Windows Vista you've ever seen in your whole life. .NET framework negative 3.5 or something like that. And it is so charming because it is simultaneously a blast from the past because like this is like basically pre-iPhone, kind of like we were still figuring out like what are multi-touch interfaces, what kind of user interface paradigms can we implement. But it's also fun because like it's the Windows Vista world when Microsoft really truly believed in .NET and all the software is written in .NET. I was having the dickens of a time getting some software running for it, ran it through an ILD compiler. Oh, now I know the exact algorithm they used for calibrating the machine and everything. So my holiday hack has been trying to get this thing up and running and maybe even writing some code against it, which has required a lot of reverse engineering because, as you can imagine, a 2008 device is not that well documented. It has not survived all the Microsoft Docs migrations and all that stuff. Basically, every link you can find on this device on the internet is a broken link. And it's horrendous to find driver support for anything, any documentation, anything, but that just makes it more fun. So, like, when you get something working on it and it's like seeing your hand and you're like tapping the pond and there's bubbles in the pond, or you're playing the chess game, which is laggy as all heck, but it's still fun because it's true multi touch. You know what's fun about it? It's not even multi touch in the way like Apple detects your fingertip, it can detect shapes. So, like, when you put a rectangle on it, it sees a full rectangle and it can draw like a pattern around it. It's like a blast from like a technological tree or branch that we chose not to follow. This rear projection camera based stuff, but it's so cool and it's so fun. And I make fun of like the Windows Vista and the actual computer, and it's not that great, but the hardware is magnificent. The screen on it's magnificent, the projector on it, the cameras are so. Um, it's just such a beautiful piece of hardware. The software's trash. And so my holiday hack has been not a lot, because obviously there's no money to be made here. This is just a hobby, has been recreating a lot of the old software to get it working.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a link to it. Windows Central is Microsoft's 2008 Surface coffee table in 2017. They re-reviewed it. Was the original. So if
Oh,
you've never seen like something like this, go to Windows Central, type in Microsoft Surface coffee table. That's what you'll want to find. It is beautiful. Okay, so this thing is running an Intel Core 2 Duo 2.13 gigahertz processor, as an ATI Radeon X 1650 with 256 megs of GPU
custom Radeon.
RAM custom. It does have 2 gigs of DDR2 memory,
Mhm.
160 gig hard drive on it. Now this thing was 32
Ethernet
bit.
cameras. The cameras aren't
Oh
even
wow.
USB, they're Ethernet based cameras.
It is. So this thing is lovely. So if people don't, just go ahead and like Google for that. I was like very bright in my face. So
Yeah.
go ahead and like Google for that, and Windows Central has this post on it. Now, the cool part about this was a great time because 2008 was I was just I was working at Canon, and I was getting into a lot of WinForms development, and then WPF
Yeah,
development, and then Silverlight development. And I
yeah.
remember the Surface table specifically because the whole goal of this was it was for not for consumers. This was for businesses that would buy it. So if you were a in Las Vegas, right, or you're a hotel, you'd have these things where people could entertain them space. They'd have like a central hub that was there. Funnily enough, at the orthodontist, they have something like this. It's like with
Okay.
games and stuff. I think it's just like a big tablet now, but they have it for
Sure.
the kids and they go and they do stuff. But this thing was like revolutionary at the time. And I remember like the mock-ups and seeing it, and I was really big in at this time in like the CES shows and things like that. And this thing was all over the place. And I never got did I get to play with one? I went to build, I think in
Mm,
2009, I wanna say, maybe, and I got to play with it. I believe I played with it there, PDC or something like that, and this thing was, like, mind-blowingly just so cool because it's this huge thing,
yeah,
you never think of it,
yeah.
and as a gamer growing up in the arcade, there were some of these tables, these inputs, but the touch and like, no one was doing like, what we were in 2008, I had, I think maybe the first iPhone, it had
Yeah.
come out, right? And then I had an Android flip phone, with a keyboard on it still. So this thing comes out and you're like, "Wow." Like, touchscreens weren't a thing. Like, what are touchscreens? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to look back, but this is like revolution. Where did you find this at?
Well, a friend dropped it off. Unfortunately, the easiest way to do it. No,
Fell
but
off a truck? Fell off a
fell off
truck?
a truck. And they were. I believe it came from Craigslist, if that helps narrow it down. Which, of course, not. But it was obviously from a business. They were using it, and then they had no idea how to support it anymore because it's the year 2026 now. And so absolutely no one knows how to work on these anymore. So like they just had it sitting there. They weren't even sure if it was running or not. So the guy was selling it basically like, no questions asked. Here, you buy this thing, you deal with it because it's heavy too. So you gotta
Yeah.
know how to move this puppy. Um, and my friend picked it up, and I think he only spent a couple $100 on it, and I think mostly it was labor trying to move the stupid thing. The problem was, someone had this took a lot of research, so I'm condensing down a lot of my own research and all that stuff. But at some point, someone had tried to recalibrate it
Uh,
and totally messed up its calibration, and therefore it seemingly didn't work at all. Fortunately, through my awesome IL decompiling skills, I was able to track down the calibration algorithm, and I was also able to recreate the calibration grid that it needed.
wow.
Oh, sorry. So I'm cutting to the end of the story here, but my friend was like, "Well, it's a fun table." He wanted to play Command and Conquer on it. Like it is an ideal gaming device. I want to play Miss Pac-Man on it. For me, it's just a Pac-Man table. That's what I want it to be. Um, and he was like, "Well, this is kind of useless to me because it's not working." And so he gave it to me to kind of figure out. Uh, it's mine because I figured it out, and now I get to play with it. I may or may not give it back. We'll see, but I'm at least going to play with it for a long time. So, friend bought it for nice and cheap because no one knew what to do with it, or that it used to cost $10,000, and and because it seemingly didn't work, but it just required a little TLC, just a little bit of love, just a little bit of decompiling, and you could get it working again. So I even opened a little GitHub repo um document because I it took me forever to figure out how this calibration grid should work. So I wrote a little program that generates a new grid, and so that you can recalibrate a table and get it all tuned up and
You
working
should
again.
you should blog about it and do some videos and
I
photos.
will.
You should probably reach out to Scott because I bet Hanselman has one somewhere. If somebody
Somewhere.
has one, Scott probably has one lingering around. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that all of the software, so it would be in demo mode. I'm pretty sure all of the software was Silverlight software. I'm pretty sure. No, was it
Pre,
WPF
pre,
pre
it's its own thing,
thing?
bro. They built their own shell to execute all this software because not invented here. So it's
Yeah.
all C# code. It's all their own SDK, and my god, the amount of engineering. Like it's just yeah, the amount of engineering. They built their own shell basically to run all these apps, and there's actually majority of the code is XNA. It's
Okay.
yeah, so that's how unique it kinda is. But fortunately, it's all kinda C sharp or at least .NET, so you can decompile it into C sharp. And, you can still get the SDKs. They float around the internet, so I was able to install the SDKs and get some basic versions of it working. The system image and such are much harder to find, but if you look hard enough, you can find them. I'm sure Microsoft's got a few floating around. I don't know if there's any employees left that remember how it works or anything, but yeah,
Hmm.
I'll definitely have to tell Scott that I've been having fun recreating this thing.
And if Scott knows somebody that worked on it, that's still on the .NET team, I
Mhm.
bet that there was some. I'm sure there's someone still around. I'm pretty sure that there's a Surface table in building 18. Next time I go into the office, I will check it out to see if there is one sitting there around. If anyone knows, I'll
Mhm.
ask in the Teams channel. That's really cool because those things are one really heavy, really expensive, and really hard to find. So that's a
Mhm.
treasure that you have found there, Frank. So that I'm jealous
Yeah.
because the canonical video that you'd always see would be the bubbles. That's the
Mhm.
demo. You can move
That's it.
bubbles around. You can it's the bubbles,
Koi
bubbles on the
pond.
screen.
Yeah.
You koi pound 2008 peak bubbles, bubbles on a
It
screen.
was oh god, and now that I've seen the source code for it, I'm just like, "Oh my god, really, guys? Really? This is what we were doing in
Ah,
2008?"
that's cool. I
Well,
like it.
I just haven't decided if it's gonna be, like, a coffee table in my living room or just, like, a fun little surface to have in the office or that kinda
Yeah.
stuff. So I still haven't decided where its forever home is gonna be, but I don't really wanna give it up because I've always wanted one, and now I have one, and it's just we're both technologists. It's just fun to have that piece of technology and that piece of history around.
Oh yeah. That's so cool. Well, let's stay on the .NET paradigms. I've been this holiday. I thought it was going to be off, Frank, because if you remember the last time we talked, I had shipped a brand new app to the App Store. Do you remember that? I did it.
I remember you're shipping an app like every week these days. I'm just falling behind in the app creation business, but yes, you had. You were are we talking about the weight tracking app? Is that the one we're talking about?
We are. So Trim Tally. You can go get it. It's completely free. It's private, secure, on device only tracking. You can optionally iCloud backup sync, which would be whatever crazy Apple security, super secure there, as well as HealthKit integration, which is really rad. I That was a vibe coded app, and I worked a lot on it. A lot of beta testers. You were a beta tester. I've been on a beta tester. I've been on a 30 or 45 day streak using it, unlocking my own awards, which is really cool. I use it. I built it for myself, and I shipped that to the app stores. I felt really good going into the holidays. Like I did it. I was like, cool. And
I just to interrupt, like, we've been creating a lot of stuff thanks to vibe coding and all that stuff. Getting something to the point where it's actually on the App Store is still a significant amount of effort because there's a lot of all the meta stuff you have to do. There's the refinement so you're not embarrassing yourself on the App Store, and then there is the dreaded actually getting it approved process. So I just want to say congratulations if I wasn't clear enough before.
Thank you. Yeah, and you know, and I it's a little bit different than a lot of the other vibe coding stuff that I've been doing, which is a lot of websites that we'll talk about as well. And not that I don't want to belittle anything, but a lot of the websites I've been doing are really small things for me, things that I find myself interested in that I want to get up and running on a static website, which I think is awesome. It isn't necessarily um, going through this big review process, right? I can go from idea of a website to deploying, whether it's in Blazor, whether it's in TypeScript and React, whatever it is, in like an hour or two. Get a domain name. I have it down pat. I have those A record IP addresses for GitHub pages locked in and loaded, have them memorized or burning in the hole of my skull there. So, but you're right because I went on Fiverr. I had a bunch of people make icons for me. Right, I paid money to do that. All the metadata, all the screenshots. I did some video promotion. I built the website, got it deployed, and then the scariest part is that I was getting it ready to go for the holiday season, and the app store slows down a little bit and doesn't stop anymore, which is good. However, I'm shipping a weight tracking app, and you had
Hmm.
gotten some app rejections for your app not being unique enough, and I was like, "They're gonna totally reject my app. Why the Apple App Store does not need yet another tracking app." But sure enough, first time around, they approved it, Frank, so
They
good to
love
go.
fitness apps. They just love
Love
it.
it.
You write anything fitness, they're just like, "Oh, please, yes." Does it integrate with the Apple Watch? No, but maybe you should think about it. Apple is all about the fitness. Tim Apple's there for you. Well, yeah, congratulations. Yeah, it's a dense space, but you're a free app, so you'll get the downloads. I'm curious to see. I'd like to see some of your download numbers sometime, and if you're ever willing to share them, because it is a crowded market, but free apps you always get something at least with a free app. You get some amount of downloads.
I have users. So
Okay,
I
there
have
we
some
go.
some users. Yeah, that's good. So I thought I was going to be done with
Mm.
it. However, there were many, many websites that I had created and pushed out really all over the time. But I actually went and published three new app updates to different app stores, which also are complicated. So the first thing is I finally finished, Frank, my Xamarin Forms to .NET MAUI migrations. They're done.
Finally, it's what, a year and a half beyond the required stop
They're
period.
done.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you.
Done? Shipping?
Shipping, yes. So
Yeah.
both of
Okay.
them. So for iOS. So what was nice about this is you wrote a beautiful blog post, and not only for the trim tally iOS app was it very helpful to ship things out and do builds, but you had helped me because I shipped the scoreboard app for with .NET MAUI, which is Blazor, and your blog post helped me get it from. Um, I have some just source code to actually having a GitHub action that pulls down everything
Uh,
and deploys it to test flight. I mean, I can see it right away, and it works brilliant. It's really, really good. So obviously, I had the scoreboard app that I updated, but the ski app that I have, this was a bigger change because the app made the .NET 10 migration. It made the iOS 26 material design, liquid glass
what
design
yeah, that one.
and that was scary because I needed to test it on a bunch of simulators and what does it look like on old devices and new devices and do I do this right and
Yeah.
do I need to make changes and luckily
So
it's not that complex but it just kind of
to be
worked.
to be clear, you're not requiring 26, you're just taking advantage of 26 features, is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because something I learned in this holiday season is, my goodness, there's a bad reputation going around about macOS 26 and iOS 26, and a good chunk of my family has not been upgrading, so I'm like, "Oh, guys, like, just it's fine." They're like, "Yeah, but they moved the button." I'm like, "They move the button every few years, just look for the new button." It's funny because you and I spent a lot of time complaining about them too, but, like, we both still upgraded because 'cause we're
Yeah.
psychos in that regard, I guess. But like there are there's a lot of people not upgrading, and then so I feel like, oh darn, we're gonna be supporting iOS 18 for a long time, aren't we?
Oh
It
yeah. Well,
stinks.
I got a support ticket for my scoreboard app, which was your app doesn't seem to run on iOS 15.6 on my old iPad that doesn't get any more updates. And I was like, no. And sure enough, it
Yeah,
doesn't. So I'm gonna. It
uh,
should. It
it
should. I'm
should.
gonna.
You want it to, yeah.
I'm filing a ticket with the Maui team on that one. So it should
Oh,
work. Yeah.
no, it should. I still ship for iOS 15. You think it's a Maui bug?
It's a Blazor hybrid in Maui bug. It's a
Gotcha.
WASM bug. It's a WASM bug.
WASM. Dang.
I'm
Okay.
99% sure it's a WASM bug. So I went
Oh,
through. This was a bigger change because I worked with we came to a head because during the season, one of the services the team was using went down, which means the app was crashing, so I didn't have good stuff in it. So I really need to get an update out. And the app update meant I deployed a new Azure function and I was doing a bunch of
mm.
more logic. So instead of calling their backend, which was scraping another backend, I now call my own backend where I can manage it and it's a lot better and cleaner. And that was good. And that was approved and good to go. Pretty slow approval
Ah,
process, but it's
around
out
Chri around the holidays
around the
then, right?
holidays. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. They definitely give vacation time during that time, yeah.
Now, Frank, also on the Android version of this app, this was the app that I told you that I lost my key store.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What does one do when they lose their key store?
Yeah, so I had the key store. I just didn't have the password anymore because I'd put it into
Oh,
App
no.
Center. I put it into App Center and then not remembered because I was like, App Center will never go anywhere. And then, sure
I hate
enough,
to say this, but, like, no one's just doing a dictionary attack against those because, like, there's no security with these key stores. Let's be frank here for a minute. You can just dictionary attack these things, and within a few days, you're probably gonna break it. So, did you even try to do that? Nah.
no.
Okay.
So on Google Play, so for the longest time, the default when you create a new app is to allow Google to re-sign your
Yeah.
application. So you give them your key store with the password, and you put it up
Mhm.
there, you upload it, and then they will use that as, hey, this is your signing key store, and they will use that to verify that you are the one uploading, but then they will re-sign it. Okay, with their key
Fascinating.
store. So that
Got it.
means if you lose your key store, it's
Yeah.
okay because Google has a key store that they're the only ones ever signing. Now, if Google loses your key store, then that's a problem for every single app in the App Store. So there's actually a way to do this, and it's a multi-day process. So you have to not only create a new key store, you also have to get like a P whatever. You have to run some key jar thingies on it. You get a bunch of stuff. You have to go into the Google Play portal. You have to go to the specific section. You have to say, I want to reset my key store, my signing
Mm.
key store, or my
Mm.
upload key store. So my upload signing key store. You reset it. You give them your new key. Boom, boom, boom. They send you an email. They said, hey, someone's requested this.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do this? If no, let us know. Else, we will let you upload a new app to the App Store in 48 hours. You have to wait 48
Okay.
hours to do it.
I gotta say, this sounds okay to me. I
It's
mean,
okay.
it could be a lot worse. I mean, you
It
did
could
imagine
not.
all those people who lost their Bitcoins in the 2005 and or whatever. I feel like it's one of those situations. So, few emails and waiting a couple days. Oh, that sounds kind of okay to me. It's nice. I, I no hypothetical, so you don't even have to guess if you don't know. But like, what if someone hadn't used the Google signing thing? Like, what happened in the past when they lost their key store? Was it just gone, or could you reset it also at some
Oh,
level?
no. If you lose your key store, you can no longer ship app updates to your app
Yeah, that's what I
ever
figured.
again.
I thought it was that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to basically delist and then
Wonderful.
upload a new one. And yeah, it's bad news. It's terrible news.
Yeah.
So that's why
So
they
this
really
is an
say,
improvement over that. Okay. definitely an improvement.
So big improvement. So anyways, apps updated, good. And I also
Bravo.
at the same time I have all these Blazor websites, and I wanted to try it out. I use the um, GitHub Copilot migration and update assistant for .NET. That might be the name of
Right.
it. I don't know.
Sure. Pro.
There's Pro Deluxe Super Edition. So this is an extension that you can get for Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. You point it at your repo and you say, this thing's on .NET 8. I want it to be on .NET 10. It does a whole thing. You come back 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, based on how big your
Mhm.
app is, and it's done. I ran it
Yeah.
on a bunch of apps and it worked great. And it rated reports
Cool.
for us. It analyzed the code. It updated all my NuGet packages. It works great. If you haven't tried this thing, it's really cool. And I love like the reports and the CSVs, all this markdown that it tells you what it's doing. It's very, very nice. If you haven't tried it, that was one of my holiday cleansing. I was cleaning up my desk. I'm cleaning up all my
Yeah.
old crufty apps. So there's no reason to do that as well. So those were some of my
Well,
.NET-y things that I did.
I feel like such an idiot now because I did all that by hand. So
Like an
now
animal.
if I'd only waited a year and a half longer than I was supposed to, like you, then I could have had an AI do it for me.
That's
Ah,
right.
darn. Well, my next holiday hack, what I've been doing is just writing throwaway apps, and they're not throwaway. Maybe someday they'll be published or something like that. But I'm not like you. I didn't get any of them to a publishing state or anything like that. But we've been talking about how fun it is if you just have an idea. Um, then you can just start commanding the AI to make my idea, bro.
Yeah,
Why do
make
I
it.
have to do it? Just because I'm a programmer doesn't mean I should be programming. That's silly. And I wanted to try to do it what I call the James way, which is ideally you're sitting at an airport drinking a cappuccino or something, waiting for your flight to Milan for like some kind of art show or something
Sure.
like that.
Okay.
This is how I assume you live your life, James. And you're just there commanding AI robots in a data center to do your job for you. And I'm like, I want to live like James. So I decided I had this little throwaway app idea. So for the holidays, I I had to make some Christmas cards for people, and I'm too cheap to go out to the store and buy them. But what I am willing to do is spend 8 hours futzing around with all sorts of technologies and printers. Did you know printers are still a thing? And
I
to
have one.
make my own, yeah, and to make my own Christmas cards. And boy, I did it the absolute worst way. Just by like custom prompts and like giving AIs and like, here's the theme for the card. It's from me to this kind of person, generate an image and a cute interior text and that kind of stuff. And I did a couple of them and they were hits, James. They were hits with
Nice.
people who on the record said, what is AI good for? Slash, isn't AI just for plagiarism? People who have said those exact words loved their AI generated Christmas cards.
Nice.
um, which opened up a whole can of worms because then people started asking me, how did you make these? And I'm like, well, in the worst possible way because I'm a programmer. I do things the hardest possible way they can be done. I used, like I said, I used the AI tools, but I also used like pages with my own custom layout. And I had to print like 12 different copies before I had like the fold correct. So like the thing would actually fold into a card correctly and all that stuff. It was a lot of trial and error. And in the like final pages file, there's text that's literally upside down. And I just edited it upside down because we're programmers. We don't care. We have no standards. And so people in my family were like, oh, how did you make these? And I'm like, very painfully and very slowly and very incorrectly. And they're like, aren't you a programmer? And I said, ostensibly, but really my friend James is when he's at an airport waiting for his flight to Milan. And then they're like, could you just write an app to do this? I'm like, maybe. So I spent a day the James way of commanding an AI through various GitHub PR requests and issues to try to build this app for me. And I want to say I had pretty good success.
Nice.
I did the normal thing of us. I don't want to pay for any services, so I was using all Apple Intelligence and trying to run everything on device. Apple has its own image generation framework. Apple has its own LLM on device, and I thought I'd write an app that takes advantage of those. And I was able to kind of crank it out. So you give it a few parameters, who the card's to, who's it's from, some theme ideas, something like that, and it generates a cover image and it generates an interior and it actually gets all the folds correctly so you don't have to do the upside down text like I had to do in Pages. I think it's a cute idea. I don't know if anyone owns printers anymore, but maybe I could integrate with like some online printing services or something like that. So the app's not like a great idea or anything, but it came out okay. And like I said, the cards were a little bit of a hit. So I think I might actually finish this puppy and maybe publish it. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. But I was pretty happy making it.
I used it. I You sent me the source code and invited me to it, and I tried it out. I was pretty impressed with what came out of it. And Apple Intelligence still struggles with a cattle dog or an Australian cat, a blue heeler. It just makes it a
Yeah.
Labrador, um,
Ah,
or some type. Maybe an Aussie.
sure.
But I was impressed with it. I thought it was really neat, and I think that you underestimate the amount of people that have a printer because I actually believe that
Okay.
a lot of people have printers. And
Okay, good, yeah.
they almost everybody buys color printers as well. I do not. I buy a
Mhm.
black and white laser printer because they're the best, the
Nerd.
fastest. I don't need color. I just need black and white. Go. It's
Co
either
color laser printers are a thing too, you know?
yeah, but
They've
the ink's so expensive. It's so
it
expensive.
is, it really is.
So, and I worked at Canada. People buy a lot of printers. So I think you're
Yeah,
underestimating. I think this would go really
okay.
well. However, you could get into the business if you wanted to,
Mm,
which would be like then they order a custom
yeah.
card and then you send it.
Oh, wow,
And
yeah, that's a real business, yeah.
now we're
Um,
talking. But you should first start with they
yeah.
print it.
Well, I think if I were to turn it into a real product, the big change is I would support, cloud-based AIs because Apple Intelligence is great and all, but, like, its image generator suffers from this same problems like DALL-E 1.0 had. It can't do text. It's just the network is too small. It's just bad at
Yeah.
text, period, full stop. It generates complete gibberish. Uh, in the image, I mean, not the text generation algorithm. And then the other problem is like it's just a little bit corny and all that stuff because it's such a small network. So I'd want to support better AIs and that kind of stuff. And then there are print services, so I could
Yeah.
look at integrations with those, and maybe I could take a little cut or do a tiny profit share with one of those kinds of companies, something
Yeah.
like that.
You know what you could do too, thinking about it, is if you were to do it, you could like always generate the one that Apple gives you, maybe a few variants, but then also to like do
Hmm.
one fancy one, right? To see what people
Yeah.
pick, and because there are some people that like may find whatever Apple Intelligence based on their prompt, like that might be a good
Hmm.
one as well for it. So maybe you do that, or then you get like a AI, plus token. You like use a
Yeah.
coin for like premium AI generation, right? So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing you could do too is people could also drop in an image. So I think that's the other thing too
Yes.
is people who have ChatGPT, they have Gemini, they have Copilot, they could create it, they could drop in an image, and then yours could construct the card.
Yeah, and it does all that already right now. And totally, yeah, because my parents used to use this one called like Hallmark Card Creator. You know, there used to be tons of these kinds of apps. They just
Yeah.
kind of went out of fashion at some point. And it's my mother has always been sad. I'm like, oh, why don't they make Hallmark Card Creator anymore? I'm like, ma, because it's not 1990 anymore. And but like there's obviously still a need for it, and people are
Oh
always
yeah.
delighted when you get something customized to them. I think that's what's kind of fun. It's like when your kid makes you a card, but in this case, like it's actually a good drawing.
Yeah. I love it. I thought it was really neat. So I hope you put it out because again, I think the you kind of talked about with Trim Tally is will it go over the final mile and will it become a real
Mhm.
thing? Because I think that is proof is in the pudding of hey, can you ship these things, make it a reality, and how much of that code do you know? I mean, you know the code, but it
Yeah.
generated the code, right? So it's a Trim Tally. It wrote all the code. I reviewed the code.
Mhm.
I can understand most of the code, but it did the thing, did all of it, and I think that's impressive for how far you got from doing James style airport coding, Frank.
Yeah, I didn't catch my flight to Milan though, so it wasn't perfect. I'll really refine it next time. I'll try
Well,
harder.
if I ever get to Milan one day, then we will do it together. Well, I pumped out a few things that I'm pretty proud of myself for. These are all three specific React, TypeScript, Vite static web apps on GitHub pages. Okay. I had
Okay,
this
React, TypeScript, static though. Okay, so it's
static
rendered at action time or something like
in
that.
in the browser, right? Statically
Oh,
served.
okay,
Yeah. So no
got it,
server. I
got
ain't
it.
paying for
Okay,
I ain't paying for AI and I ain't paying
yeah,
I
exactly.
ain't paying for hosting. So the first thing that I did was I was kind of my holiday of I'm sick of
Mm,
insert something. So I'm
mm.
sick of finding websites that make you sign up for a newsletter or something to get access to some calculator or some spreadsheet
Ah,
XYZ. And
yeah.
this was all around FIRE calculators, which are investment retire early calculators. I might have talked about this before, but I created myfirenumber.com. Good domain name. Myfirenumber.com. Great
My
one.
fire number. Okay.
It's
I'm not
a
familiar with the fire concept, so this is just the new tech bro how to retire early kind of thing.
well, not even tech bro, just normal people and tech bros and
Okay.
non-tech bros, anybody. So the whole
Money
idea of
bros. Okay.
yeah, financial independence, retire early, is that there's different types. But the whole idea is that once you've accumulated X amount of money, you know your burn rate, you can draw 4%, 5%, 3%, whatever it is. And there's different kinds. There's like fire, there's this like coast, which is like, oh, I want to do like work a percentage or like lean, like at lean fire, I want like, I'm going to, spend less or I'm going to want to spend more. I'm going to work part
Mhm.
time. But I also wanted things like withdrawal rates and savings retirement, debt payoff, like healthcare gap, all these things.
Hmm.
So I vibe coded out myfirenumber.com. I love it. It's a bunch of calculators, charts, graphs, when you hit your fire number, how far away you are, all this stuff. And it's all in the browser. There's no cookies. It doesn't store anything besides your light or dark theme colors. Everything is URL routing. So if you add a number in there, it will route to another page and pass your age to the other page via the route. So
Wow.
it doesn't store
How
anything.
90s. I
So yes,
love it. You're just jamming
yes.
it all into the URL?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. And it even exports into Excel spreadsheets for you as well. So you can really take it offline, which is amazing. And it's also a progressive web app. So you can run it 100% locally, disconnected. I was like, no ads, no anything,
Hold
which
up,
is
though.
cool.
Okay, so from an engineering perspective, so I'm Joe Blow, trying to retire early, trying to make my monies, working 5% of the time, and I've entered all this data into it, and it's like, here's the plan. I'm like, great, I'm gonna follow this plan. We used to call this budgeting, but now it's called firing. That's cool. Um, so do I just bookmark that URL? And so every time I change a number in it, though, I'm gonna have to remember to update that bookmark. Is that the rough idea?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Browsers are gonna have to update themselves for this new technology
Yeah.
because you
Now,
can lose data very quickly. I think that's my biggest concern. You could put a bunch of effort into it and click an old bookmark.
well, that's why I made the export to Excel. So you could just take it and never come back to the website. It still does it all for you. But yeah,
Can I just make the
I,
point that I think local storage is fine. IndexedDB is fine because it's still safe and secure on your machine, your user account. Just putting it out there.
yeah, I'll think about it. I'll think
It's like the
about it.
save codes from Nintendo. Like, they actually used to encode like the save
Yeah.
state in the code.
Yeah. Well, there's that. Okay. Anyways, the next one I'm really proud of myself. We had and I'm sure you've dealt with this. PDFs. Have you heard of
Oh.
PDF documents, Frank?
Oh, the portable document format that is not a portable and is not a document format? Yes, that one.
I've been reading some contracts recently, and they're about 35 pages. And we've been doing revisions to these
I was
contracts.
I have to admit, I saw that you were working on this, and I'm like, I'm trying to play like detective. I'm like, what is he actually doing that he needs? Because I'll just tell everyone because I already know it's called PDF diff or something like that, where you just give it two documents and tell me what the difference is between these two. We all deal with diffs all day, but PDF diffs, like, back in the day, like GitHub used to do really good image diffs. Like, why don't they kind of gave up. They stopped doing like interesting diffs on GitHub. So like there should be one of these like it should be a feature, not a product. But
Correct.
it's not. So it's kind of cool. You turned it into a product because yeah, I don't even know what the state of the art is in PDF diffs. Obviously, you must have looked up the state of the art and you weren't happy with what was available.
I looked up a lot. So this was the I want to do something and I'm not happy with. So
Yeah.
PDF-diff.com, good domain name.
Yeah.
Um, so the problem was there are some PDF diffing tools. You could also just give it to AI, but then you are either uploading a bunch of stuff to a server or you're giving it to AI, and I don't want it to understand what's inside the PDFs. So I wanted this again to work 100% offline, no servers,
Yes.
no anything
Yes.
in the browser.
Good
So
man.
it's really simple. You go to pdf-diff.com, light theme, dark theme, system theme, and you can try demo and you can see it. So it gives you side by side view. You can browse through pages. You can show all pages. You can see a unified view. You can see changes only, removals, additions per page, how many pages, even hidden text. People were like, oh, I hid something
Oh
inside of
yeah.
it, blah, 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 blah. You can export a new PDF that will show you the red and green additions and subtractions and stuff,
Okay, cool.
which is cool. And someone challenged me to create a CLI because everybody was creating CLIs this
Oh my
holiday.
gosh. Oh my
So
gosh.
PDF Diff has a CLI that's available on NPM. I created an NPM account this holiday. Can you believe that? I got an NPX
Bravo.
package.
My
Yeah.
goodness. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I gotta say, knock that one out of the park, huh? So you can actually generate a new PDF with a. So I personally have zero use for this because the only PDFs I deal with are research papers, and God, I do not care what the history is on that paper. But businesses run off PDFs. So
Yeah.
like I could easily I mean, I hate to say it, but you shouldn't have been working on the CLI version. You should have been working on the SaaS version. You should have been working on the how people can give you money version of this app because I feel like you could actually make a couple bucks on something like this.
Well, I did, Frank. I did submit this app to Google AdSense. So eventually ads will pop
Okay.
up on it and I'll hopefully make some sweet, sweet
SaaS.
pennies off of it. So yeah,
No, you
probably.
need recurring subscriptions. You need yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well, I know it
I've
does
seen
good
a
at
lot
tech.
worse ideas turned into SaaS. I just
I,
saying.
I know it does good at text. I don't know about like images and other things too. There's probably some improvements I could do to it,
Okay,
but at least from what our needs were, it was amazing. I like generated like the diff report for Heather, and she's like, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen." And I made that in like under an hour, so it was
cool.
wild. So yeah, published under an hour, the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's ways to make it not work. Like you're getting lucky in that like the source of one PDF is pretty close to the source of the second PDF when they just do an edit. But
Yeah,
PDF is such a I made the joke in the beginning. It's not a document format, it's a drawing format. So you could render text as a bunch of rectangles and lines and things like that. And I'm sure your algorithm wouldn't support that. Um Sorry, I'm just thinking of a competitor product that I'm about to write, which actually does the image diff of each page and then does the diff based on the image diff of them.
yeah.
So we'll see which one of our SaaS products profits more. But no, congratulations. It's a cool product. One of those funny ones that like I just never would have thought of because I've never had that problem. So that's cool.
Yeah. But Frank, there are two other things that I've been working on.
Oh my
One
goodness.
has been consuming my life, I would say, for the last several days, which is we talked about Oh My Posh, which
Hmm.
enables you to extend your terminal for all intents and purposes. It enables you to turn that prompt into a highly customizable terminal window. So, for example, in my configuration, when I load it up, I get to see, the time. I get to see the what branch I'm on, how many diffs there are. I get to see my Copilot usage. I get to see the version of .NET my
Oh,
project
interesting.
is. It,
Mm.
it basically looks at what's in there, and it has all of these segments. You have these blocks, so it's a line, and you have these segments to them across the board, and you can highly customize. There's like 103 um, plugins that are
Cool.
segments. So there's version control, there's battery connection, the operating system, the project you're in, the session usage, the the language, like every language is there. So what version of, Dart or Clojure
Mhm.
or Swift you're on, cloud infrastructure, AWS, Azure, GCP. So it'll show you all these things. You can even have like what Spotify song you're playing, for example. So it'll show
Yeah.
you all these things, the weather wherever you're at. So you can customize all these things, and it's calling off and it's doing all these things because it's like a living, breathing. So when you see Scott Hanselman do his presentations of the terminal, you'll actually see his
Yeah.
glucose reading, so you can see his blood sugar. So that's Oh My
Oh,
Posh. Yeah.
yeah, I that's how I heard of it. As we all learn from Scott. And so
Yes.
I only knew about this thing because of Scott, and he's always showing it off and that kind of stuff. I have to admit, I'm one of those weirdos that like I came up with a prompt, I think, in 2008, and I've been using it ever since then. Like, I haven't upped my game at all. So, like, you're saying all these things. I'm like, yeah, why don't I have that? Like, the version of .NET for the project, I'm like, that's kind of smart. And a few other things. Like, no, I don't need the battery percentage in my prompt. That's a little bit too much. But I love the variety. That's super cool to like yeah, it makes me think like maybe I should be a better customizer and that kind of stuff. But oh my gosh, it's super cool. I've been enjoying it ever since Scott first started showing it off.
Yeah.
Obviously, a cool product.
And Jan, the main developer behind it, I've been kind of following quite a bit, and I've not a really terminal person. However, Kayla Cinnamon on my team wrote this blog post about doing a bunch of GitHub Copilot integration and customizing your Windows terminal. And one of the things she talked about was the new GitHub Copilot integration. So it'll show you like the session, it'll show you how much your usage is, like all this
Hmm.
stuff right in the terminal, which is really cool if you're using the CLI, for example. So I was like, I'm going to do this. But Frank, I'm not a terminal person. I am a visual person. So I created the Oh My Posh Visual Configurator 5000. And this is
Serious. Okay.
it's
You
serious
you know it's
because
serious when you put 5,000 on it. That means I'm going after a very specific audience here. Yeah.
so this thing is wild. This is a ginormous, huge application that is only a few days old, to be honest with you. I prototyped it not in an airport, but I gave it a spec, I gave it the website, I gave it the docs, and I created a plan together of what I wanted to do. And when you go to this, I'll put links in the show notes. It doesn't have a fancy URL, but it's on my GitHub, and you can see all the segments. There's a live preview on the bottom. You can drag and drop these segments in real time. It shows you the preview. It updates the template with all this mock data. Obviously, it's not running the terminal, right? But as the
Cool.
mock
Yeah.
data
Got it.
in it. It has a full property pane because I love property panes. It has customization. It has IntelliSense drop downs for your colors. It shows you every single property that's available. It has all these advanced features inside of it. And then additionally, it has a theme library where it loads up a bunch of samples, but also anyone can contribute their own community one onto the GitHub repo and it'll pull it in like Kayla did. And then he has a bunch of like 100 and so on themes that you can just pull. So today I added all
Hmm.
of them, one
Wow.
click, load them up, visualize them. And then additionally, you can save your themes locally in your browser and update them and work on them with IndexedDB and local
Good,
cache. So they're
good
all
job.
there. You can export them, you can copy them, you can download them, you can view them. They're all there. It's really wild. Like everything is wild about it, and it looks awesome because as a WinForms developer, right? Drag and drop and
Yeah.
WPF, like all this stuff. It nailed the property pane. It did this and all this, and it nailed like Unicode nerd fonts and like all this stuff. It looks so cool putting it all in there. Um,
So
and it's crazy.
what what is if fantastic by the way. Yes, we're all even CLI people need visual editors. One of the things I love about Fish is it uses HTML to configure it. So there's like a little web
Mm.
app that comes with Fish, my preferred shell. So what is your actual UI technology? What are you using to render all this stuff and display it and interact with it? Is it HTML? Is
It's
it
all just React components.
it's oh right. This is we're still in the category of static React web pages. Yeah, you said that with localhost. Okay, so still a web app, as we say, but without a
Yeah,
server.
the
Yeah,
nice thing is that, Oh My Posh in the terminal, it's just outputting text, right? So it just needs
sure.
to
Yeah.
render HTML text and customize it but it has tons of like Unicode things and how they all look and all this other stuff. There's crazy like
Cool.
flames and little things that you can do and wildness and different icons. So it's pretty advanced and it's been pretty tough to get right, but I've been really jamming on it and really enjoying it. Um and getting it right is hard. But I went into the Discord and these are power users and they like
Okay.
were breaking it and doing this and they're
Oh,
crazy,
no.
this and that. And then today I just shipped a new version. I was like, all right, I took the schema and I've implemented like 95% of the schema. And so
Yeah.
much that these things would be like things that I would never use. So I actually
Mm,
have the settings, which is like power mode, power user mode. And there's
yeah.
15 different features that like only power users will use. But if you import yours, it'll turn on those features for you automatically because it knows
Mhm.
what features in the JSON or
Cool.
YAML or TOML that you're doing. So that's been like the big hack that I've
Nice.
been working on. Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I am always for adding UI to things that don't have UI. There's always a special place in my heart for those kinds of apps. So does this one have a URL where, or is it just on GitHub? How do people go get it? Because I missed that part.
James, yeah, jamesmontemagno.github.io/ oh my posh dash configurator. I'll put it in the show notes.
Bravo.
There. Yeah, there you go. I've been talking to Jan about it, and if I get it to a place where maybe he did a tweet approve it in a way. But I would love to get like configure.ohmyposh.dev or something like that. Like make it part of
Oh,
his like contribute
nice.
it back to the project if it's
Yeah.
ever good enough. And I even have a little walkthrough that's like it only works on desktop because it's a lot of real estate, like an IDE.
Mm,
But I even have a little walkthrough that hey, this is a general preview, right? It's gonna get it as close as it can, but it can't like execute your code, right? It's not going to know if on Windows do that, it's not going to,
yeah.
you know, be a
What
hundred
version of
percent.
.NET you have installed in this folder and blah, blah,
Has no
blah,
idea.
or
So it'll do
yeah.
its best to render a preview. So I give everything preview text and emoticons and things like that. So, anyways, it's out. I'm very proud of it. I think it is so
Mhm.
cool. And I put out a few tweets and people seem to dig it. And to me, this was not necessarily for power users, but this was for, hey, I want to use on my Posh and I'm not super comfortable just knowing even what JSON blobs to go grab and do this thing. Wouldn't it be great if I went over to, oh, CLI tool? Oh, I'm using Docker, add. Oh, cool, it added it. Oh, I'm using GitHub Copilot, add. You know what I mean? And then it just
Yeah.
adds it in automatically. So that's kind of the jam that I'm going for.
I think it's great because I only have a very I barely know anything about Oh My Posh, even though we're sponsors. Hi, everyone who uses Oh My Posh. Um, but I was exploring the GitHub repo for it because I was playing around with your links and all that stuff, and I was like amazed at how many plugins and themes and all there was. And I was like, there's just too much here. Like I'm scrolling and scrolling, and I'm like, and you read the first 10 and then you're like, oh, there's 150 more or something like that. And like, how am I ever going to get through it? So that's where I feel like an app like yours isn't just a configurator, it's an explorer. It's another way of putting all those features in front of someone. So they might even use your app just to get a general feel for things, and maybe they do prefer hacking the config file by themselves, but at least it will expose all these advanced features to people. So bravo, I love it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I made it so when you boot it up for the first time, it's very simple. It has one block, it shows your path, and it shows your Git branch and how many, like what the branch status is. And that's it. Like, even if you were just like, hey, I want to get started, you can customize the colors, you can pick a color and it'll update it. Bingo,
Mhm.
bango. Even if you just did that, you've now made an improvement because you got this thing working out of the box.
Yeah, and I have to admit, when you first published it, I thought that's all it did. I was like, oh god, did you just write the world's biggest color picker? Because all I saw were the themes. It didn't occur to me like all the different whatever segments, whatever you
Segments.
keep calling, yeah,
Yeah.
segments that you could
Yeah.
import. Those didn't occur to
Oh,
me.
I should have a little what I need to have is like I think I then added a little walkthrough. So I think it says like add segments to a thing. So I'll do like that
Okay.
tutorial thing, like after you do it, like zooms in, like drag and drop this over. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. That is, I think that is that the best holiday hack? I don't know. It's up there though.
The last one I'm working on. um,
Okay.
is if you go to and then this is controversial because I'm talking to Scott a
Uh-oh.
little bit about it, but
Oh, boy.
Scott and I were talking, and he's like, "Hey, I like updated the BabySmash website." And if you don't know what
Oh.
BabySmash is BabySmash is an application that Scott made like 20 years ago, and it enables you to basically lock your Windows computer, and this screen comes up, and you can move the mouse, you can jam on the keyboard, and it does all these shapes and colors and words and text, whatever you do. Because the whole idea is you have a little kid, a little baby, they might be wanting to smash on your keyboard, and it will show it all up. So he remade babysmash.com. It's very cute, makes a bunch of noises. And I was like, hey, there's not a Mac version of Baby Smash. And I said, what if I could vibe code it? And I just kind of did it. I have a working prototype on my GitHub. I'm not planning on releasing it. I was just like, can I do it? You know what I mean? And so far, I kind of did pretty okay.
You did kind of pretty okay. I love this app. I tell everyone about it. Not the Mac one, the original Scott Hatchham's
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Like, cause I think it was so genius what he did. Cause like, I mean, it's a little scary handing over a $1,500 laptop to a toddler, but, if you are willing, or it's an older computer or something like that, the kid wants to emulate the adults. Of course they do. So they can just start banging on the keyboard, and what a genius thing for it to actually do something. I've seen these where, there's, like, hacker versions of them, where no
Mm.
matter what key you hit, it just starts, like, writing code and making beep boop sounds and all that kinda stuff. So there's even adult versions of BabySmash. So I've always thought the idea was just kind of genius, and it's fun. You decided that there needed to be a Mac version of it. Is that because you hate the web, even though you just wrote 2 web apps or 3 web apps, or is it just because you're enjoying making some Mac apps and you just thought the world needs a Mac native version of this
Well,
puppy?
I thought it'd be cool. Like maybe eventually he'll put it into the Windows store or something like that. And I thought maybe it'd be cool to have it into the Mac App Store. But I
Mhm.
also it does a bunch of things, like it does a lot of like widescreening and locking of keys and a bunch of stuff. And I was like, and he was telling me as I was reviewing the code, because it is open source, it's using a bunch of Win32 stuff. So I was like, I don't even know if the browser would be able to do a lot of this system lockout. And in fact, like I was
Yeah.
having Copilot go through some of the features, and you actually it implemented a bunch of the accessibility features. So you have to enable a bunch of accessibility features to allow Baby Smash to like block some of the access to different things. So I was like, maybe I'll just do a native app to see if that is the route I want to go down or not for
Okay.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was the idea.
Yeah, and you might have a little trouble with the sandbox, but, it's really weird what's supported and what's not supported. Because like, you can always fall back to Quartz. Quartz is kinda like the original input-output system for Mac. So I feel like there's a lot of those Windows features that you definitely can emulate or replicate on the Mac. Sandbox may be a little bit tricky. Apple doesn't love it when you lock out the entire computer except for
Yeah.
your app, but they do support it under some circumstances and things like that. See also my little app called Little Ships.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very similar to Little Ships. Yeah. Yeah, besides that, I did a bunch of contributions. Like instead of just vibe coding, I
Mm,
had an idea for a bunch of apps that I was using. Repo Bar was one that was put out. I had some ideas for, and then Fowler worked on a CLI called Tally AI Money. That's like a command line to help you go through your bank sort of statements and
okay.
figure out what's on it. So it doesn't have AI built in, but you can leverage AI with it, and there was a bunch of features I thought would be cool. So I just vibe coded out a bunch of features and did a bunch of contributions. They all got accepted, which is crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I said, and I said, hey, listen, I had this idea. I want to let you know that I generated this code with AI. I tested it out,
Mhm.
X, Y, Z. Totally understand if you don't want it, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm giving you transparency. This was written
Yep.
by Sonnet 4.5. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, let me just
Yeah.
be honest about it. However, like, Fowler was basically just pumping out, this was, I saw on Twitter, like the amount of little things and big things that people were building. It was crazy impressive. So it was like
Mhm.
people were pumping out stuff this holiday season, which is cool.
Yeah, and what a perfect place for AI too. It's these little, "I wish this library did this." Well, okay. Open
Yeah.
it, fork it, create a PR, that kinda stuff, and just kinda get it done, and I love the idea of just pitching it over because I don't know, as an open source maintainer, I could see it go both ways because AIs are also a little notorious for generating lots of code or touching things that they shouldn't touch and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I feel like 90% of the time, you're just like, "Yep, that looks like a good solution. Merge."
Yeah.
Just, I'll take that. So
Totally.
very good. I think you had a more productive, winter than me. Boy, I will keep up with you. I will catch up to you, sir. I will clean my desk, maybe. I will contribute to more open source projects, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway, I'll
Well, I'm
release one of these apps someday.
uh,
So
well, I'm back.
congratulations, Jay.
I'm back to the office, so it's all going to slow down. It's all over.
Okay,
We did go skiing. I also did a bunch
good.
of cycling and a bunch of walking around town because it's been really mild here. But we did get enough snow
Mm,
for a little bit of skiing, so that was good.
nice.
So I did get out of the house. I did do stuff. I swear. So
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed you're typing this all into your phone while you're on your bike sipping a cappuccino.
yeah,
Uh,
today I for BabySmash, I was like, I drafted everything and I had to like create the GitHub issue. And Heather's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go on a walk, and we're gonna do this big, like, hour-long walk." I said, "Okay, give me 1 minute. I need to sign it to Copilot, and then I'm good." I was like, "Cool, done." I come back, and I'm like, "I'm good to go." And that has been kind of the thing that I talked about, and I talked to a lot of people online and in person, like, "Wow, it's cool how you and Frank are talking about it." It's like it's so different from how you guys talked about anything you guys were doing a year ago, but it just encouraged me to just try it, right? And
yeah.
just, "Hey, I'm about to go to bed. I have this idea." It's like, let it do its thing and let it rip. And um,
Mhm.
you can let it rip. And I happen, especially on the Mize, on the skiing app and the cycling app and the other ones. I've been writing, code by hand as well as
Yeah.
I need to fix stuff up and things like that because it's like I very intimate with that code. But I'm also now having it build new features that I probably wouldn't build. I want to do this whole journaling system as well. And I'm like, yeah, I could write this, but I don't want to. And I just don't have time. And someone online was like, "Oh, it's not that you don't have time to learn it, or it's not that you wouldn't learn it, or it's like, without AI, I would never do this." It's not without AI, I wouldn't do this. It's without AI, I wouldn't have the time, or I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to make the time to do it. Like I wouldn't have had the time maybe to do all of these, maybe one of them, and it wouldn't have been done.
Well, it's priorities. It's the things 3rd, 4th, 5th on your priority list that are
Yeah.
getting done now instead of just the number 1 and 2
Ooh.
things on the list. That's
Yeah.
what it really is.
I like it. All right. Well, on that note, let us know what you've been holiday hacking on. Send us your repos. Go to uh James Montemagno, Proclarum, Merge Conflict FM. I figured out our login. I logged back in. I'm sure you saw that. So we were tweeting again. Hit us up, mergeconflict.fm. You can follow us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/at mergeconflictfm. All the places. That's going to do for this kickoff to 2026. Frank, I can't wait for even more pods. So until next week, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.